Hello, ADHD fam! So, it's been 1 month na naman since my last recording. And yeah, I promised myself to keep this as consistent as possible. So, even though abutin siya ng isang buwan, pero I promise like in this year to record more podcast series. So, happy 2023, even though it's already February. It's better late. Sorry, better late than never, right? But yeah, for this episode, I am going to talk about um not living to your full potential. Have you heard about that? Na parang sinabi sa'yo ng teacher mo or ng parent mo or someone that's very close to you that you are not living up to your fullest potential. So we are going to discuss that in this episode. Alright? So, stay tuned! So, at the start of the year, nagtanong ako dun sa support group namin sa Facebook. So, we have this Facebook group for adults who have ADHD, and I asked their input if they have heard telling them if they're living to their full potential, or kung may mga taong nagsabing mahina daw sila or bobo sila. There are several stories na yung iba nakaka-touch din, pero merong one common denominator of all those people na may ADHD, na their people are saying na they are not living to their full potential. Pero let's step back a little bit and have a third person's perspective about that statement. Because people who have ADHD really have a hard time learning things. Like theoretically speaking, we cannot just, sit on a book, read about it, and just imagine about it and expect people or expect the teachers na matututunan agad namin kung ano yung nasa book or nasa material that we are reading. Pero yun lang ba talaga yun? I mean, in retrospective, when I was younger, just a little bit of a story then. When I was younger, or when I was a child, mahilig lang talaga ako maglaro. I don't have any idea kung may ADHD ako noon. Basta gusto ko lang maglaro talaga. And then, pero, since gusto ko nga maglaro, lagi ako nasa last section. And, siguro din, kasi nga parang masyado akong focus sa paglalaro ko, hirap din ako mag-aral. Pero hindi naman to the point na parang laging palakol yung grades ko. Parang saktuhan lang talaga. And then, dahil nga sa, alam mo yon, sa standard ng society na you need to have good grades for the society to see you as someone who's intelligent, as someone who's capable of doing great things. Siguro isa rin din ako sa mga naging biktima nung thinking na yun eh. Kasi I was bullied in school and I was bullied in the family na parang bakit daw ako yung kulelat, ako daw yung nasa star section, tapos daw yung mga kamag-anak ko or mga pinsan ko nasa star section daw, they're doing their best, they're like, top of the class. Pero nung bata pa lang ako, dun pa lang din ako nagtataka na bakit kailangan ba may standard? Kailangan ba ganun? Or kailangan ba top of the class ka para maturingan na matalino ka? Pero that pain actually urged me to study well. Like, I remember grade 5 noon, sabi ko sa sarili ko that year, I'm going to study. For reals, ngayon, siseryosohin ko na yung textbooks ko, siseryosohin ko na yung mga lecture ko. So, what I did, diba, pag enrollment before the start of the school year, meron ka ng mga books kasi I studied in a private school. So, nung binili na yung mga books ko, I did my due diligence in doing my advanced reading for all of the subjects that I have. Kasi nga, promise ko sa sarili ko noon na I will try to study. Because I don't believe that I'm bobo. I don't believe that I'm not capable of studying. So, ayun, nag-aral ako. And then, tumaas bigla yung mga grades ko. So, ang ending nun, at the end of the school year, nasa 92 yung average ko, and then I was qualified to become hindi naman member, but to promote yung section ko to star section. And then the rest is history. na naging scholar ako nung high school ako, naging scholar ako nung college ko, college ako, sorry. Nung college ako, naging scholar ako, and then, up until now, even if I'm already working, I really love studying. I really love, discovering new things or discovering great things. But, that's my story. And then, way back, people are like telling me na, yun nga, I'm not living up to my full potential or bobo ako. Just because I have this ADHD brain that mahirap talaga for us people who have ADHD to translate what we have read into something na we have to do. Hirap na hirap talaga kami sa application. So may mga tao talaga na parang so-so lang nung nag-aaral or parang hirap din talaga silang intindihin yung inaaral nila just because nga 'di ba may iba-ibang learning styles. Pero we are going to talk about yung mga taong may ADHD per se when it comes to studying and not living up to their full potential. I'm gonna challenge a thinking here, ha. Parang I want you guys to be in this journey with me. Let's challenge a thought. Paano kaya nasabi ng society na in order for a person to become competitive or to for a person who is capable of doing great things, meron bang standard? Like, for example, if you're gonna, kunyari, papacheck up ka for diabetes, let's say, and you have to get your blood chem work done, may mga certain standards that the doctor can say, hey, you're pre-diabetic or you are diabetic. Very technical yon kasi in a sense, nabibilang eh. May standard talaga, may golden standard. However, when it comes to society, paano kaya nila nasabi na yung isang tao is capable of doing great things? I don't really think that there is. I don't think that there's a ruler or there's a standard or there's like a scale para masabi na yung isang tao is capable of doing great things. Because naiinis ako, kaya na naiinis in a way na parang, kailangan ba talagang yung mga magagaling lang sa math, magaling lang sa math, sa science, or whatever, yung kayang maging engineer, or yung kayang yumaman, or kayang mag-business, or yung may ibubuga. And then this thoughts or these voices, para sa mga taong may ADHD, naniniwala, parang partly naniniwala kami eh. Imagine kung yun yung voice that we hear a lot of most of the time. Diba subconsciously, we also believe it eh. We believe that, I cannot say that it's the truth eh. But, naniniwala kami doon sa false information na yun. And I really, really wanted to talk about that kasi my heart is out to those people na hanggang ngayon naniniwala sila doon sa mga voices na yun na narinig nila nung bata sila. So, nung naging adults sila, subconsciously, they believe that eh. In everything that they do, naniniwala sila na they're not living up to their full potential. So, instead of, being able to go through the process of trying and failing and failing and trying, they experience ADHD paralysis at the start of the journey. Kasi we can be easily overwhelmed. And that's actually the sad part of having ADHD kasi yung brain din namin is wired differently. Hindi kami same doon sa mga neurotypical na bata or mga tao na they have this certain process of learning. Sa amin hindi. We have to like literally hijack our brain or know our brains intimately for us to learn the best. So let's talk about then that in this episode kasi parang masyado na kasing na parang alam mo yun, tumaas na yung standard pagdating sa pag-aaral na kailangan talaga pag top student, yayaman yan. Pagkabilang ka sa top 10, mas capable ka of doing great things. Pero I have heard a lot of stories na yung, alam mo yun, yung after 40 years, kakaroon kayo ng school reunion. I have heard a lot of stories na yung mga yumaman or mga naging successful in life were not in the top spot noong graduating class nila most of the time. And I'm really wondering, that's very, very fascinating, no? Alright, now that we have challenged that thinking, I am now going to speak to the people who have ADHD then as well. I really wanted to tell you guys na be very patient with yourself. Know yourself deeply and increase your self-awareness. Do not believe na those voices telling you na you're not smart enough or you're not intelligent enough or you cannot do big things because actually we can. It's just that we need to know how. So, ang intricacy din kasi ng ADHD, it's not the same on all people eh. It doesn't work the same on all people. Like, for example, recently, I just did my first charting analysis kasi I really do wanted to trade forex like for a very long time now. Ever since college, I'm really interested in finance. And then when I discovered about trading, I have been really wanting to learn about trading. Like, I think it's almost like 5 years na or 3 years or something. Talaga ang tagal na. Kasi nakikita ko pa yung mga notes ko noon. It's like way back na 2019, 2020, 2021. Pero parang bakit laging hindi ko natutuloy yung pag-aaral ko? And when actually that was before I discovered that I have ADHD. Tapos nung na-discover ko that I have ADHD and then nung sinabi ng doctor ko na I have depression and then eventually that changed to bipolar, I promised myself na I'm gonna start again. Okay? Na parang sinabi ko, okay Michelle, we will start again. So, yung mga bagay na gusto mo matutunan na noon, let's try to learn it again. And in this time, by this time, let's not focus on what method or what other people says na yun yung effective method in learning. Like, there's so many YouTube videos or guides online on how a person can learn effectively. I did not listen to those. I listened to my brain because my brain knows my brain very well. I think more than me. So, ang ginawa ko, nung in-approach ko yung pag-aaral, I had a book printed for Forex. I have prepared videos that I can watch. One thing that I discovered is, I cannot sit still on a book. I cannot watch videos, a series of videos from 1 to 10. It's just not how my brain works. So what I did is, if I read something on the book, I did not start on chapter 1, by the way. I started on chapter 11 or chapter 10. When I started reading, every time that I have a question in mind, that's the time that I go to YouTube and watch something or some person explaining what is that or what's the meaning of that particular term is. So, ang ginawa ko, ganun lang, back and forth from the book, video. I did not even touch the videos that I have at my disposal, yung available videos that I can watch. And then, and then I let my mind create that map or I let my mind create that picture. And then, eventually, parang, nung nagawa ko na yung first charting analysis ko, I was so proud of myself. Na parang, oh, first time. I'm really, really happy. And then, when I go back, kung paano nangyari yung process na yon is I just let my mind work through that process. Na parang, okay, pagkakatiwalaan ko yung brain ko. So, kung ano yung ibibigay niyang instinct sa akin, yun lang gagawin ko. And then, my ADHD brain works like that eh. Before it can start on something or before it can do something, I need to let it create the big picture subconsciously. And then, pag alam niya na yung big picture subconsciously, that's the time that it can apply what it has learned. So, yung tinatry kong aralin for 3 years, naaral ko siya in 2 weeks. And then, yung parang nung naalala ko nga din na ito na yung magiging topic ko for the next episode for this podcast. Na doon ko na figure out na maybe I can share what I have gone through in that process. So nakakatuwa lang kasi even though I'm already 30 years old, I was able to learn something new as if like I'm still a college student, as if I'm still a high school student. So, yung mga naysayers na nagsasabi na I'm not living to my full potential, I don't want to believe them because I just did something wonderful. And it will just take a very long patience with myself, and I need to trust the process even if at that time being I'm not like sure what I'm doing, but I'm not gonna let paralysis stop me from doing what I need to do. And so I really wanted to, if you're listening to this, I really want to touch your heart and mind na don't believe in the naysayers because we are all in progress. We are like, we're all work in progress. And even if for the neurotypical people, they are still in progress, we are still in progress, wala tayong timeline. And yun din, no, na parang kung kanina, challenge ko yung thinking about certain standard in learning or like certain standard to say that you are capable of great things. Wala din naman nagsabi na lahat tayo may kalendaryong kailangang sundan. Yes, meron tayong standard calendar from January to December, 365 days a year. Pero tayo personally, in our growth and in our processes, wala naman tayong kailangang sunding calendar 'Diba parang mas nakakasakal if you're like, oh, 20, parang may people are saying that I have seeing this on TikTok na they're already 24, wala pa daw silang na-achieve. Like, hey, you're still 24, you're still too young. Parang, bakit kailangan mong isipin na may nagawa ka ng maganda or may nagawa ka ng malaki sa buhay mo? Kasi what if you're bound to live until the age of 80? So, imagine, kung sa age of 24 pa lang, nagawa mo na yung gusto mo, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? So, parang masyadong short-term thinking, and let's expound that thinking into a long-term thing. Like, for example, if you really wanted to learn math, let's say, you just need to trust the process, take the time to practice and practice and practice until you get it. Na don't treat failure as a period. Treat failure as a comma, as a dash. 'Di ba? It's a continuation to the next thing. So, ngayon, yun din yung thinking na inadopt ko sa sarili ko na kung magkakamali ako, I will use that failure to learn. And then, I'm gonna do better next time. And then, so far naman, that process did not fail me kasi as I go along that journey, natututo ako, and then, parang, pag napaisip-isip na ako or nagnilay-nilay na ako, doon na malulook back na, ang layo na pala din na narating ko, no? So, the message that I really wanted to say is, lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang timeline, lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang talents, at lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang skills that we can utilize. Siguro, let's approach this with this thinking. Kung lahat tayo magagaling sa math and sa science, wala nang mga storytellers, wala nang mga dancers, walang mga painters, walang mga magagaling sa storytelling, walang magagaling sa literature, walang magagaling sa paggawa ng mga pelikula. Ang boring ng buhay natin. Black and white lang. Walang kulay, walang silbi. So, tapos ito yung pa yung mga standard ng ating learning education here in the Philippines na pag magaling ka lang sa science, sa math, sa at kung saan pa, ikaw lang yung merong potential for bigger things. I really don't think so, and I really wanna challenge that thought. Paano naman yung mga artists? Paano naman yung mga dancers? Paano naman yung mga singers na nagbibigay ng kulay sa boring nating buhay, 'di ba? paano naman yung mga magagaling gumawa ng storya, yung kunwari, yung bagong series ngayon, si Maria Clara at Ibarra, that's a very wonderful series. So, paano na lang, kung lahat na lang tayo ma-technical na tao, lalo, paano na lang kung lahat na lang tayo logical, wala na naging artist sa atin, ang boring ng buhay, 'di ba? What I really wanted to say is lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang strengths and talents that we can utilize. We are all wired differently. And for people who have ADHD, we have our own talents and strengths. 'Di ba? Kasi kung we are lacking on one side, we are strong on the other side. That's how it works eh. That's how balance works. And I urge you to know your talents. I urge you to know your strengths. Know yourself really well, sorry. Because self-awareness is the key to everything. And actually, you know, once you have discovered that strength of yours, it is a process on how you can cultivate that. It is like, you need to walk from mountain 1 to mountain 2. I know if you're from the mountain 1, when you try to look at the distance that you need to walk in order for you to get to the mountain number 2, it's really long. And that's how journey is. So don't look at the distance. Don't look at how far the journey can take. Just enjoy that every step that you are doing or you will be doing in order for you to get to the mountain number 2. And as you walk and as you approach the goal that you want for yourself, pagdating, alam mo yon, hindi mo na mamamalayan, nandun ka na sa mountain number 2. And when you look back, ang haba na ng nilakad mo. So don't focus on the time that it would take for you to learn. Focus on what you can do today. I know it's very hard, so para sa mga tao may ADHD, to be present, to be in that moment, to be in that time wherein you will practice what you need to practice or hone what you need to hone. And then, once you've practiced that and once you have learned your craft, eventually you will learn eh. Like what I just did, no? Eventually, I learned how to do it. Eventually, I formulated my own trading strategy. And I'm not saying it's effective because I still need to practice it more and more. But what I'm saying is I'm also in that process of learning. I promised myself that I will never stop learning. Kahit na ano, even if those small things that if you wanted to learn how to cook something, you can do it. If you wanted how to, draw something, you can do it. Just trust the process, and we're never too old to learn something new. Kasi kung mabubuhay nga tayo ng mahaba and we need to do those things at a younger age, parang ang haba naman, nung tenga mo, 'di ba? Kasi kung na-reach mo na yung optimum state mo at an early age, paano naman yung the next 60 years mo or the next 55 years mo? That's gonna be too boring, right? Parang lalo lang dadagdag yung frustration mo kung na-achieve mo na yung optimum mo ng 24. Tapos anong gagawin mo ng 30? Eh, na-reach mo na nga yung pinakamataas mo. So, you're gonna live the next 55 years in frustration and isolation? Diba? So, I urge you, kahit na nasa mid-age ka na, like 30s, or kahit na nasa 40s ka na, don't ever stop learning something new. Parang hindi na lang pang ADHD yun, no? Pero, anyway, for people who have ADHD, just try to be present. I know it's hard, but try to be present. Try to enjoy the moment. And eventually, you will get there. And never believe. Don't believe the naysayers na you did not live up to your full potential. Kasi kung full potential ka kaagad, ang boring na ng buhay mo. 'Di ba? Treat it as a journey. You're still a work in progress. I am still a work in progress. Every one of us is still a work in progress. But since we are now also in the time wherein resources are easily available to us, like internet, like YouTube or something. You can learn something new every day. You don't need to go to school. You don't need to go to a college to learn something new. Yes, you can take your masters. Wala namang masama dun. Or I also wanna urge you to finish your at least a bachelor's degree. Pero if you really want to learn something new like coding or trading or whatever or designing an app, you can easily look it up online and just learn something new. So, ayun, I just really want to challenge that thought na parang may certain time, may certain standard that the society uses in order to judge people. Let's not be like that. No, let's not look at the outside, but let's start looking in. So, yun. I hope this episode helped you, and I really promise to record more because my habit of being perfectionist caught up on me. So, ayoko nun. Nina. Basta magre-record ako. And I know because this podcast is really helping a lot of people then. So, ayun. Have a nice Sunday, everyone. And Monday na naman bukas. So, yun. Ultimately, you knew anong araw ko ni-record to. But, let's learn something new every day. Bye!